All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. Unpause and repause, so I don't have to see my ugly mug twice. Now, you have to see it. I only have to watch myself on the recording screen. Fortunately, I also already have one down below as well, because I'm casting myself to the stream. I don't really want three of myself. I mean, I may be a Hydra, but at the same time, I don't want to develop bulimia. I don't like to look in mirrors, not just because I'm a vampire. This is going to be a Rants and Bantz stream for the most part. There is news to cover. In fact, I'll bring up RCP. We can get to a few of those articles. But it's kind of a slow-ish news day today. So I'm like, why don't I just rant and so forth? Plus, I'm a little bit exhausted. I expended a great deal of energy last night during the blood eclipse, the worm moon, as they call it. I was doing some ritualism. Yes, indeed. Accidentally injured myself, which is why you're not currently seeing this hand. A little bit of a difficult issue. I cast a couple of spells. I like doing that. And they work. You wouldn't believe the things that have lined up, almost like the goddamn constellational alignment over the last 48 hours. Let's put it that way. I will say no more. Talked about it in brief during my occult video this morning, actually. Oddly enough, more well-received than most of them. It's funny, it depends on the topic I'm covering, or subtopic. Mulgera, hello there. Clank. On this day in 1883, Karl Marx became a good commie and assumed room temperature. May he forever rot. Oh, again, what a coincidence. Goodbye, Karl. You killed 100 million people with your ideology, but thankfully we're trying to limit the damage these days. Yeater Theater, we all love sticks in Cletusville, Louisiana. I don't know if the Cletusville thing is a joke about rural hillbilly bumpkins like myself, or if that's actually a place. Let's look it up. Is Cletusville real? I believe you mean Croutierville or Creepsville. Creepsville 666, Melrose Ave, Los Angeles, California. More strange numbers aligning. This has been happening in a very, very advanced pace. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about what Anton sent me. Ramon C. GTC, a new ketchup bottle. Nice. R1234233. Do you wear the same thing every day? I do launder it. It does get clean. But yeah, as far as my work uniform, this is basically what I've set my mind on. Yeah. So we're going to perv on our fans, say weird shit, make piratical references, and rant at length about various news stories. Vectorm. He made the world a better place by pushing daisies. More good than he ever did while he was alive. Yeah, Marx really messed up the world in a big way. This is the problem. The problem is reform is sometimes necessary, but then you get people that try to reform you in the wrong direction and it ends up worse for you. For instance, look at Russia. Was the Tsarist regime in the feudalistic period a negative force in the world, generally speaking? Yeah, Imperial Russia had become Byzantine and decadent. There was a lot of abuse of the peasantry. You know, the landed gentry did all right, but generally speaking, there's a lot of poverty, illiteracy, and so forth. All that they did was transfer socioeconomic policy from the old Tsarist period to what became the Soviet Union with communism, and then killed a bunch of people. And then, unfortunately, the diaspora spread. It's funny because actually, the more advanced communist nations are the ones that at least built a fascistic facade over the communism. Sort of like pulling the curtains closed on the theater. There's nothing but a brick wall behind, but at least there's a facade. And so they were able to get along better with the West. For instance, the Vietnamese are one of the people in the world with a higher opinion of the United States than American citizens do in general in polling, at least at last check. I would love to visit Vietnam, by the way. Lemongrass and everything, sign me up. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not going to challenge your government if I'm a guest. Same thing when I was in the Netherlands. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. That's the way to do it. Yeah, so let's get perverted. Let's make piratical references. Arr, mateys. Arr. I'm gonna keel haul ya. Sir Thomas Drake. Creepsville 666 is a clothing brand. Oh, I used to work at a goth clothing store in Seattle, and we carried a little bit of their stuff. That sounds fun. Sounds like the sort of store I would actually go to, actually. Turtle's Toy Box. On a real pirate ship, they'd make Styx the Scullywag. No, they'd make me the ship's cook, probably, once they tasted my soup. You know, you're not exactly captain, but, you know, you're left alone, generally speaking. I keeps a little rum up front, don't you know, for cooking purposes. That's just between me and you. Treasure Island reference, by the way. Mulgera, would you rather live under pure democracy or a monarchy? It depends on the literacy and intelligence of the population and the benevolence or malevolence of the monarchy. I mean, it's like in the Netherlands. Their royal family is unimpeachably cool. The king, it seems a little bit of a wonk, but seems like a cool dude. He's the sort of person you'd chill with a beer with. His wife is extremely intelligent, Maxima, and their daughters seem like really good people too, very charitable. And so under a monarchy like that, hey, things can thrive. The problem is then maybe somebody inherits the throne and they make shitty decisions, and they're all narcissistic and malevolent and tyrannical. Under a democracy, if you've got a shitty population, you're going to get shitty results. If you have an aristocratic sort of population that's highly literate and understands civic rights and things like that and respects them, and you're not under any external stress, then the democracy would definitely be better. But that's rarely the case. Unfortunately. The perfect society would be one in which the state is exceptionally constrained, extremely limited, highly constitutionalized, and in which the population is both intelligent and engaged with day-to-day civics. This has never been the case. Outside of the revolutionary period, when the people running the show, generally speaking, they were highly educated, very philosophical, they were very benevolent. They didn't, for most of them, they didn't want to tyrannize the population. They had just literally created a country in order to get away from that sort of thing. Styx Sea of Thieves stream. Sea of Thieves fucking sucks. Goodness. Yeah, the only difference between Imperial Russia and Communistic Russia is that they expanded, using World War II as a predicate for that. Patton wanted to combat them, but was then assassinated, and they transferred socioeconomics. That's the only difference. It was the same Russian Empire. In fact, it grew in that same period of time. Just because you change your economy doesn't magically make you not an empire. Anton is here. We have Anton. Thank you, by the way. He sent me some ketchup. This is no colorants, preservatives, or thickeners. This is, well, technically it's tomato sauce. In fact, let me try it now. Let me see how this tastes. I don't know if it means tomato sauce in the sense of being ketchup, or whether, oh, well, that's not working very well now, is it? God, it won't come loose. I'm usually the person they call on to open the pickle jar, but oh, that was tight on there. Tight. Get it? Haha. Sexual innuendo. Smells like ketchup. That's good. That's delicious, actually. So it's all gold original. And it says tomato sauce, but that's ketchup. Yeah. Oh, I'm eating that. I tried the Marmite earlier. I had not had this brand. I still think the Bovrite is definitely the best of the three. Bovrite is the best. That's a South African version. It's like a yeast and beefy spread. Just a little bit on a piece of toast. That's all you need. Trust me, don't use too much if you don't like really salty things. Vegemite, I'd say, is second best. Marmite, This is more pasty, and it just doesn't have the same flavor profile. It's similar. All three are good. I mean, I'll still definitely use it. Not as good as the Bovrite, though, Anton. You should cut out the Brits. Hail South Africa for your toast spread. You can put it on other things, too. I mean, the Bovrite also doubles as a bullion, so, you know, it has an additional usage. Yeah, that's, I put ketchup on the ketchup that I put on my ketchup, my friends. I'm true to my word. That's so much better than Heinz. Also, it's got a slightly subtly different flavor profile. If you were to put that on like barbecue ribs, cook them in that. Thank you, Anton. That's not going to last very long. I hope that some of it lasts until barbecuing season. Get a rack of ribs on the bone, of course. Boneless ribs are no good. That would be good in a marinade. Damn. That's extremely tasty. I know what kind of ketchup I'm getting from now on. All natural. Yeah, Anton, thank you. You are one true clanker. Yeah, he hooked me. He also sent me some mustard and some sort of seasoning that has like sesame and wheat in it and things like that. And it smells like the sort of thing you would generally put on bread, like you'd cook it into like a sourdough or something, which is really fortuitous because it's almost time to have a boiled dinner for Easter. Yes. Turtle's Toy Box. In Japan, they call ketchup American sauce, I hear. Huh. That's odd. The algorithm, by the way, today is hating me. That's why less people are tuning in. Doesn't really matter, though. Makes absolutely no difference. Also, I started late. My niece is here, so I'm going to be hanging out outside later, mainly. So I figured I usually only stream 4 days a week anyway. So I figured I'll do a stream today. I'll keep it a little bit on the short side, you know, give the sponsors a shout out. And we can talk about whatever news you want. If you send a super chat or a Rumble rant, we will get to it. Dems funneled billions of tax dollars through the EPA. James Varney on RCP, on SiriusXM. Not a surprise. Yeah. The Environmental Protection Agency has been crooked this entire time and was money laundering? No. Really? You mean that they favored the political party that was going to increase their budget every single budget season? This is impossible. Governments would never do anything like that. I find it funny. There are some people out there, and they come in all stripes, by the way. They'll trust the bureaucracy if the current party in power is the one that they happen to favor. There is one enigmatic exception to this: the current administration. Donald Trump has laid aim on the bureaucracy, sort of like he's massed a bunch of pirate ships and they're firing on the port at the moment, trying to take him out. He is the only president since first-term Ronald Reagan that has made a serious attempt to reduce the bureaucracy. Now, first-term Reagan did a good job simply by freezing their funding and saying, okay, you're not going to expand for the next couple of years. We're just going to freeze that, let the private economy, sort of tack up. And that was good enough. Under Donald Trump, we have something even more beefy, which is not only freezing the bureaucracy, but reducing the bureaucracy for the first time in living memory for most of the people watching this live stream. He's doing a good job so far. Is he being legally embattled? Yes. Was this predictable? Everyone knew that this was going to happen. The lawfare aspect of the Trump administration, I think 99.9% of you knew that this was going to occur. Will he be successful in the end? It depends. It will be hit or miss. By embattling every bureau at the same time and every bureau official and going through the lawfare thing and firing tens of thousands of people and signing off hundreds of executive orders, Donald Trump is basically throwing a pile of spaghetti at somebody. Not every noodle is going to hit them, Some of them are going to be clinging to their vest. It's going to take them a while to try to clean it up. And they will be ultimately unsuccessful, probably have to drop their suit and say, fuck it. That's what Donald Trump is doing. It's great, by the way. I love seeing it. I love seeing them resort to courts that in some cases aren't even fully sympathetic in order to try to stop legally binding executive orders and legislation and bureaucratic cuts and everything else that they have to do. Can you imagine the confusion right now of staffers at the DNC, especially since they're broke too? Oh my God, it must be chaos. There's papers flying around, people sleeping in their offices. I bet that's basically what it's like in multiple states and at their federal HQ. I have every belief that that is exactly what's happening. There's papers being shredded. There's things being printed out. People are running around in the hallways trying to do their task because they've got 20,000 of them to do today. Total lack of communication, coordination, and organization. Well, Gara, looks like Rand Paul is going to vote against the CR in the Senate. Do you foresee a shutdown? No, I do not foresee a government shutdown. I believe that the CR will carry. Now, I have my misgivings about it, but this is just a continuing resolution. This is not the full-on budget. This is a temporary stopgap measure. And Trump backed down Schumer on it. Yes, he's backed down several Democrats on it. He has the votes. Apache forgot to respond yesterday, but Trump's support of Israel doesn't endear him to the new right. Sure, boomers love God's chosen, but they're dying out. Agreed. Rob Boss, Styx has evolved from clanking to strumming. What does he keep hitting that makes that noise? There's a little thing underneath the computer table that I'm using. It's metal, and so it reverberates. My apologies. I do have to figure that out at some point. I'll put cardboard on it or something. Tomes Esquire. Recent stream cringe, awkward sexual stuff comes off as desperate and hungry and makes it impossible to refer to your streams to others. Sucks because I love your stuff. Be yourself, but don't destroy your brand. I don't think it'll destroy the brand. I just like to have fun. I mean, you got to realize there's a difference between my normal news streams and my Bantz streams. Here, I'll talk about news or whatever I'm prompted on, but I'm also going to have fun. Whereas with the normal news streams, I've got a docket and I'm talking about actual news, and that's the sum and substance of the stream. There's a difference between the two. I mean, we've got some turned on female clankers in chat right now. You know, happens every day. I'm just I'm literally dressed as a pirate right now and surrounded by cutlasses and shit like that. Do you think in a million years, this is the sort of person that takes life seriously? No. If anything, me taking things seriously post-2016 election, my apologies, by the way, is a little bit more of an aberrance than a norm. I would invite people to look back at my pre-2016 videos, especially when I was doing reports on drugs and things like that. I never got into this particular content creator industry just to do dry and ultimately sometimes boring things. That's why I like to shake it up. Well, I was always the oddball. That's why people started watching me. I was the shirtless kind of gothy dude that was doing political commentary. That's why, number one, it was fun. Number two, it became lucrative. And number three, people noticed me. If I had been dressing normal, if I dressed like Harry Sisson or something like that, do you think I'd have 500,000 subscribers? No. Yeah, I've had 2 marriages. I've got a kid. I dress like a pirate. I've got open misdemeanor charges against me in New Orleans. Yeah, I'm a real normal person. Ha, yeah. Mulgara. I thought that was the ball and chain that fell and practically shat my pants. Lol. Yeah, no, my apologies there. The Marmite fell. Yeah. Yeah, it's not as good as the Bovrite. I will say that. Both right. The South Africans definitely, Anton, do it best. Musically assured destruction. Sticks made a whoopsie poopsie. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o, as Razor Fist would say. Salty Reese's Cup. I looked up the river Styx and found ya. Yeah, apparently there's a literal river Styx over in Greece. It actually exists. I'm going to go and bathe in it someday. There'll be some ritualism there. Lawfully Armed. Shout out to my homie, Tactical Muffin Top on YouTube and Insta. He does gear review and prepping videos. Yeah, we talked about prepping this morning, actually. We talked about Tunnel Girl. She's a TikToker from Virginia. She's building a bunker under her home. And I pointed out, people these days think you're crazy if you do something like that. And you have to go through a bunch of bureaucratic hurdles too, which is the main gist of the story. But back in the day, the government used to tell people it was a good idea to drill in a fallout shelter. It doubles as a tornado shelter and everything else. Stock it. Do prepping, survivalism, know how to hunt, know how to trap, know how to grow things, know how to can. These sorts of skills were considered important 70, 80 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, the government is telling you that these things are nonsense and that you shouldn't do them. Why the sudden 180? I wonder why. Could it be that they want a less literate, less skilled population incapable of doing things themselves? Oh. It's a rhetorical question as usual. Reverse lead. Thoughts on Trump versus Massey? Ambivalence more than anything else. Massey can vote his conscience on the continuing resolution, and Trump supports it. Have problems with the continuing resolution. It's not perfect. But at the same time, again, this is a temporary stopgap, not a full-on budget. So I'll give a little bit of leeway. Raman C. GTC, your meditation technique helps insomnia. Thanks. Yes, bodily meditation. Lay there. Experience the feeling from top to bottom and back to the top. By the way, it took me a while to figure out the ladder. It was easy for me to draw down energy from the top of my head to my feet. It took more effort to bring it back up. And you can cycle that energy over. Eventually, you're going to fall asleep on your back, and you can have weird dreams, too, by this way. Very, very fun. Yeah, I do that most nights. I cast magic by doing so. F. Winter's loading. Sticks, I know you like Rand Paul, but he's come out prematurely against many Trump things like tariffs. He is a free market supremacist. Given a few hours to explain to him why we don't actually have the capability of having a free market, I think he would come around. But he is more of a purist. He's more puristic than I am with regards to libertarianism and things like that. But I still respect him. He actually believes in what he says. He means what he says. And he's got grit. He's got guts. It's not easy for a Republican at this point to come out against any Trump policy. So I can give him respect. I may not agree with every aspect of it, but I will still give him respect. Rand Paul gets a pass. J.L. Lockwood, did you talk about the somewhat viral post of the Greek temple? Can't remember to which god, which seemed that they were bringing back legit pagan worship. Thought it was awesome. Man, if somebody can DM me that on Twitter, that would be perfect. Yeah, let me look it up. Let's see if there's any news story about that. First Hellenic polytheist temple in 1700 years is open and encounters aggressions. Well, of course it does. Despite arrests and legal aggression, thank you for the news tip, by the way, from the Greek Orthodox Church, the first Hellenic polytheist temple in 1700 years is now open. Located near the village of Kalaini in the Peloponnese in the wild mountains of Arcadia, Pan is once again being honored in his native lands. Oh, that makes me happy. Yes, they've created a pagan temple. And of course, they're being persecuted by both the Orthodox Church and the Greek government. I will lend you my energy. Somebody will probably try to fire the temple or something like that. That'll definitely have to go in the docket tomorrow. King of Biltong. For anyone interested in homesteading and prepping, check out Jack Spurko from the Survival Podcast, rumble.com/c/the Survival Podcast. Yes, indeed. Copium Poppies. I think you missed our Rumble rant. Lol. Sorry about that. I'll try to go back. Sometimes it moves pretty quick. Oh, yeah. We made Grok review our upcoming EP. It couldn't analyze the audio, but it was able to review based on the lyrics, track list, and uploaded cover art. The results are interesting. Check it out on X. Yeah, your music's pretty great, actually. Spectergeist. Speaking of Pan, Sticks, have you seen Pan's Labyrinth? Only clips of it, actually. Looked good from what I saw. Now they need to bring back a temple for Artemis and for some of the other ancient gods. You know, let's make religion fun again. And instead of having, like, priests telling you what to do, you have priests that are encouraging you to have orgies and stuff like that. That sounds fun. Dionysus and so forth. Yeah, we need some Bacchus. If Winter's loaded, do you buy the Rubio Musk story? And do you think Elon is butting heads with the cabinet secretaries, or are they working well together? I think that they're working very well together. And the idea that they're butting heads is twofold. Number one, the legacy media wants to drive a wedge between Trump and Musk because they're so effective together, and other members of the cabinet. They want to make it seem like they're infighting. Number two, as a result of this, Trump and Musk grin to each other, chuckle about it, and say, we're going to let them run with the story and not even address it most of the time. As long as they're distracted by that, they're not talking about public policy, now are they? It's a ruse, and it's one the legacy media can't defeat because they're too fucking stupid and based on clickbait and ad revenue. There's nothing that they can do to combat Trump and Musk. I guarantee there's a closed-door handshake agreement between the two of them. Mulgara. One thing I hate in GOP circles is the whole, what bill is X passed? To quote Silent Cal, it is much more important to kill bad bills than pass good ones. Yeah, Calvin Coolidge, one of my favorite presidents from my home state of Vermont. Indeed, I'm taking credit for that. Copium Puppies, my religion that I formed, concerts at church amid psychedelics or the sacrament. Yeah, we need more paganism in the world. It's a beautiful thing. Think of all the cool music and poetry and all the weird philosophy and stuff like that. It just makes the world more interesting. Ultimately, it is impossible, in my opinion, as an apatheist, to determine whether there's a creative force or whether any of these beings have any veracity. As such, I simply say, which ones are interesting and make the best music? Which ones want me to fuck? Which ones want me to roll around in the hay and enjoy nature and stuff like that? Cool things, fun things, getting away from human artifice. That's basically my philosophy. Majestic. Corporate life is killing me. I want to start doing my own thing. Would you recommend YouTube or Rumble to break into the entertainment space? Both. I mean, I'm live on both at the moment. You're going to have to multi-stream if you're going to do that sort of thing. And you can sync up multiple sites. Use BitChute as well, I would say. Minds, Odyssey, Gab. Branch out as far as you can. Make yourself censorship proof. If I get banned on YouTube today, well, I'm still one of the biggest creators on Rumble. It's the first person to 100K on BitChute. I think I'll be fine. Plus the Amazon books, but that's different from video creation. And so forth. Get a Substack and so forth. I've been pushing new tech for a very long time. Years, in fact. I think I was the first one that really started pushing it. And it really, I think, helped these sites to grow because I already had a large audience on YouTube and elsewhere. And I started doing that because I'm like, look, the ad-based, heavily censored internet is eventually going to become a problem for a lot of creators. So it makes sense to use multiple sites, you know. Brian, yar, happy Friday. Yes, indeed, my friend. Do you want to get keel-hauled? Don't worry, this knife only be for cutting up the scallops in the galley. Jesse James, Rick Berwick likes sticks. Yes, I've seen his. He's funny. Ricky Berwick. He's hilarious and very irreverent, by the way, which I like. Yeah, so we've got the first polytheistic temple in 1700 years. Technically, there are a couple of pagan temples up in Scandinavia, but that's a different religious system. So as far as Greek polytheism, apparently the first one is open, dedicated to Pan. I want one dedicated to Bacchus, Dionysus, of course, and one dedicated to Artemis. Those are the three coolest gods, actually. Pan is pretty cool. You know, you play with your flute, and you wander around in nature and stuff. I tend to like the more pastoral polytheistic figures. Those are the big three. Artemis is the goddess of, well, virginity and honestly a feminist goddess in some ways, but also hunting, frolicking with animals, stuff like that. Dionysus, it's all wine, women, and song. He's the party god. Basically, he's the god of New Orleans and Amsterdam and places like that. And then you've got Pan, of course, as a figure, more of the rustic, rural, a lot of music and poetry and stuff like that. Those are the three that I like best. Yeah, if I go to Greece, I'm visiting that fucking temple, by the way. I hope they erect a few more before I get there so I can visit them too. I'll leave an offering. Hell yeah. Let's get to our sponsors. Since this is just a Bantz stream, I'll get to those and then I'll check out the news. I'm going to docket that polytheistic temple story, actually. Again, thank you. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills. I'm high energy because I took 2 of them this morning. So there's a reason why I got a boost. It's not just the 5-hour energy. They are delicious and they are very effective. Anecdotally, disclaimer, not medical advice. Pumpkinfirecrafts.us, where you can get bookmarks, important for the bibliophile in your life. Hopefully it's me. Keychains, belt chains, engraved spoons with the Ouroboros logo, and much, much more. BiltongUSA.com. Anton, always in chat over on Rumble. You can get biltong from him. You can also get Bovrite, Marmite, apparently tomato sauce, which is actually ketchup, and much, much more. We've got Sticks, Hex, and Hammer cups and tumblers available too. Use code STICKS for 10% off. I see Mexican Trumpers over there. I'll get to your comments in a minute. WickedNeedleEmbroidery.BigCartel.com, where you can get Sticks, Hex, and Hammer hats. We have baseball caps, not tricorns, available in several colors and several stylistic designs. HeritageHeirloomSeedCompany.com. They sell seed survival buckets. It's almost spring, at least here in New England. It's already spring down south. Should get one. High quality, affordable. You can plant probably an acre with one of these buckets, by the way. Properly seedlinged. We've also got Sticks, Hex, and Hammer soap. They've also got other soaps available. My favorite, Cedar Clove Blueberry, and then the Lavender Marjoram. Those are the Sticks, Hex, and Hammer soaps. Websterswares.com/sticks-wares, where you can get blades. Yeah, you can cut yourself and cut your friends. Again, Bakshi reference. Never mind. We've also got beanies available. It's an homage to Tim Pool. My favorite, the metal straws. Save a turtle. You know, instead of shoving a plastic straw down its nose, just reuse your straw, and then there will be more turtles for us to eat. That's a good idea because turtle soup is a 10 out of 10. Just ask Ralph's on the Park in New Orleans. I'm definitely getting turtle soup when I go back down there, unless they have that crayfish bisque, which is probably my favorite thing I've ever eaten in my entire life. And then finally, jamandbean.com. That is JAMandbean.com. Get your Clanker coffee now. Sniff it every single day. Yeah. It's pure, but even the smell invigorates you. It's just like the best coffee I've ever had in my life. And their teas are no slouch either. Get some Healer, Hunan Jig. Some good stuff. Mexican Trumper. The Limelight was my second home. The VIP room was the Geiger room, and his NYC circle hung out there. Interesting. Geiger room. Geiger, isn't that the one that did a bunch of occult art? Are you referring to that Geiger? The one that did like the generally black and white or grayscale, like demonic sort of, it was classical mixed with postmodernism? He did a bunch of illustrations and stuff like that too. Is it that Geiger that you're talking about? To Mexican Trumper? Yeah, look up Geiger art, and I'm not sure if that's the one you're referring to. Stephen Franco, my mom says you look attractive as a pirate. I told her she's not allowed to visit Vermont. Maybe I'm going to steal your mother from you. Hey, you know, I'm allowed to be horny on Maine during a Bantz stream. If I'm doing the normal, again, for people that are kind of critical of the fact that I'm going crazy, I've always been crazy. I lock it down and I try to stay generally semi-normal when I'm doing like a dedicated docketed news stream, because people need to know the news. But if it's a particularly slow news day and I've only got a couple of things to talk about anyway, why can't I cut loose and just have a nice, funny conversation with people? Girl of Valley. Steven's mom has got it going on. Yeah. Maybe we can have some fun. Go to lunch or something, you know. I don't fuck on the first date, though. Just saying. Yeah, I actually do have standards. I'm not a complete hedonist. Well, I mean, I do fuck on the first date sometimes, but, you know, it depends on the circumstance, you know. Stacy's mom has got it going on. I like that song. H.R. Geiger Bar in Chur, Switzerland is amazing, but more interested in the museum. H.R. Geiger Bar, located in Chateau Saint-Germain. Ah, Saint-Germain. Yeah, that's an interesting historical character. By the way, it was funny. I watched the In Search Of documentary with regards to the Comte Saint-Germain long ago. I mean, I still watch it from time to time because I like Leonard Nimoy's voice. He's got that drawling deadpan. Oh, excuse me. And just all around. I remember him more for that than as Spock, by the way. But they actually got it wrong in that documentary. There were two Count Saint-Germains. The Count Saint-Germain that was sort of like an aristocrat and a courtier in France and other parts of West Europe is not the same as the Count Saint-Germain that actually did do military things for the Russians. They are sometimes conflated, thus adding to the idea of him having been immortal or at least living for hundreds of years. It was said by multiple people that he was capable of almost an encyclopedic recall of things that had happened in the past. What happened is that he was a courtier, the original Saint-Germain. He probably did live to an old age, apparently had a very healthy diet. Casanova, I believe, remarked upon this, that he ate vegetables and lean meats and not much else. He was not a gourmand, and so lived longer. And it's possible that he was Romanian aristocracy or even nobility in exile. We're not 100% sure. The details are a little bit fuzzy. I mean, he practiced alchemy to an extent. As I've said, alchemy in many cases was either chemical experiments, bombs and stuff like that, sapping, or was charlatanry. And in his case, I believe it was the latter. What he did was that he knew multiple languages, learned charisma and elocution, learned a lot of historical things, and was able to tell a good story. That's Saint-Germain. He was able to convince people, therefore, that he was hundreds of years old because it seemed like he was recalling those events as though he had lived through them. So you could talk about something from the 1500s, like some pirate war or something like that. The thing is, he was simply well-learned. He was very well educated, and most people in the court, what was the commonality? Many of them couldn't even write their own name. And so he could astonish these people. He was basically a storyteller. Imagine the court in ancient France, back in the time of Saint Germain. Half of your audience is illiterate. Those that are literate are not particularly well learned. They're literate for the purposes of legalism and royal documents and shit like that, clerical work. They have not studied a lot about history, but you have. You can tell campfire tales in front of the whole court. And apparently, you could also play musical instruments. That's always a help if you're in the king's court. And so he convinced people effectively, without even ever stating this, that he was hundreds of years old. The reality is that he was a particularly skilled courtesan, again, contemporary with Casanova, who actually met him. Casanova, at one point, sharing a 13-year-old girl with a friend of his, he was a little bit grody. But yes, that's what happened. He was just very intelligent and very well learned. Holden Sneedmeyer, there will be no ceasefire in Ukraine. Stephen Franco, all in good fun. People can do as they please. Yeah, I figure if it's my channel and it's a Bantz stream, so it's rather informal, I dress as a pirate on a daily basis. I take life very seriously. You have to make money, but if you can just ramble about crazy shit and then perv on some of your fans and make money doing that, then why not, you know? You think that people haven't been propositioning me through DMs this entire time for like the last 15 years? This has been a thing for a long time. I met my first wife on ICQ. My second wife I met on YouTube, you know? Comrade Havoc, I demand that Styx display a flintlock. Yar. Yeah, I'm not a current... Can I have a flintlock? It's an older model, I think I can. Pertinent to my legal case, I cannot currently own standard firearms. I don't think that flintlocks are included in that, but I really don't want to get raided and fucked. That would be bad. Sheck Rumbler, hi Styx. First, how are you with building the ship? I'm looking forward to see it live because I want to buy it for myself. Oh yes, that is under construction. We will be sailing the high seas soon. And oh, Dave, yes, you can. Black powder are not considered firearms. I'd have to look into state law in both Louisiana and Vermont as well, though. It's not just all federal. Basically, I'm not interested in getting put back into jail needlessly. And I've got so many blades around me and a fucking flail and everything else. And it's not really a problem. I have a couple of sabers, a baseball bat, a dagger, a bayonet, and several machetes next to me when I sleep. So, yeah, I mean, don't worry. I'm perfectly fine. I've got sack gloves. I've got body armor. Yes, you are allowed to have that, by the way. And so forth. Brian, have you thought of getting an eye patch? People would think you're a pirate Majima. No, because I like three-dimensional vision. Girl of the Valley, you need a flamethrower. Yes, believe it or not, anyone can buy a flamethrower simply by showing their ID. All you have to do is be 18 years old or older. It doesn't matter if you're a goddamn felon. You can own a fully functional military-style flamethrower, but you can't own a snub-nosed 22. This makes a lot of sense. Fuck the NFA. But that's the whole problem with U.S. weapons laws. This flamethrower can burn a line of cars or an entire crowd of people and kill 100 of them. That's fine. But don't you get a 22 revolver or a Liberator pistol, then you're breaking the law. King of Biltong, maybe there should be a lesson in meeting girls online, giving the track record. I will tell you. I will teach you by the numbers. Here's how to meet girls online. Or boys, by the way, if you happen to be a girl. Or maybe you're gay, maybe lesbian, whatever. Here's how to get hooked up with somebody online. Be unique. That's literally it. Unique and have some other redeeming quality. Maybe you've got quite a bit of money. Maybe you're well-spoken. Maybe you look good. Maybe you look like Adonis. Like, yeah, you're the fucking golden one or something like that. You will meet people that are interested in you. They will come to you as long as you're putting yourself out there. Most people hold themselves back and underestimate themselves. And some people get really egotistical and they become overbearing. They like a Gaston or something like that, who was the good guy in the that particular movie. But, just be unique. Be the brown milk, as Chris Whalen, CPA, would say. I'm dressed as a goddamn pirate. I give no shits. I am unique. I stand out from the crowd. When I go out in public, I stand out. People think I'm Jack Sparrow or something like that. Almost nobody dresses this way, unless it's like Mardi Gras or something, and even then, most of them don't. And so people notice you more. Then they get to talking to you, and they notice other qualities as well. Mulgera, all gun laws are infringements, agreed. Shall not be infringed is absolute. I agree. I believe you should be able to mail order a machine gun right now. Last speaking. Honestly, most U.S. weapons laws are a bunch of bullshit. All of them are. Anything prior to Trump, mainly from the conservative or liberal angle, is just basically backwards. Check Rumbler. Second, regarding the spoon clanking, my grandpa always kept his spoon in his coffee because he used to pour second or third portions of hot water over the original dregs. Wise. That may be where it originated from, actually. I hadn't thought of that. Thanks. I'll have to ask Mom. Mulgera, an example of gun law retardation. In my home state of Maryland, AR-15s are illegal to buy here, but you can buy a SCAR. And ironically, it's probably because evil, scary-looking black rifle. Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. It's just like calling anything above 10 rounds for a rifle a high-capacity magazine. No, 30 is standard capacity. High capacity would be, oh, you got a drum with 110 shots in it or something like that. 10 is a limited capacity magazine. We need to shift the linguistics on so-called gun control, which is really just anti-Second Amendment sentiment. We need to shift the language involved. Cultivated mind, American grown and extracted medicinal mushrooms. Clear up brain fog, improve reaction time, boost energy, balance the gut biome, and much more at cultivated-mind.com. Subscribe and save 15%. Yeah, I took 2 of them today. They seem to work. They definitely boost my energy. I mean, so does this, but I think the mushroom pills are actually more effective than the fucking 5-hour energy. The boost certainly lasts longer. Check Rumbler. Third, when I asked him why, he told me that back then, when he was young, the coffee was very expensive and they used to enjoy it to the fullest. You have the Czechoslovakian genes. Yes, my mother is part Czechoslovakian. I don't know whether it was from the Slovak or Czech side of the current border. Yes, indeed. So, yeah, maybe spoon clank originated in Czechoslovakia. I think I have some Czechoslovakian currency somewhere over here. I'm not going to be able to find it, but, I've got a bunch of old... I got me pirate booty, and I looted from ships around the world. Last weekend, what we need to do after Trump and start getting rid of the Reagan-Buckley types out of conservatism and Clinton types and Obama types out of liberalism. Yeah, that would be a perfect world. I would like to have a Democratic Party that functions. We don't currently have one. It's the party of insane people and old corrupt geriatrics. The Republican Party is improving, but not completely. There are still a bunch of neocons cluttering it. It's just that most of them are so old, they're cycling out. UMD Caps would love to visit Prague someday. Yeah, I would love to see the house where the Golem of Prague supposedly is still upstairs. That would be cool. Have you ever heard the story of the Golem of Prague? Supposedly, the city was under siege, and the Jewish rabbis, they created a clay figure and sealed it with certain mystic words, and it came to life and it defended the city. This is where you get the concept, by the way, of the golem in multiple video games and movies and things. Apparently, by the way, one of the oldest horror movies ever made was called The Golem. It was about the Golem of Prague. They don't have a copy of it. They only have a couple of stills. There is no apparent copy available. And so, unfortunately, it is a lost film. It was an old silent movie, black and white. Rich Nevado. Clankers support the erection of a stick statue. There's no problem with me getting an erection myself. Mr. Dapperton, I got your character done for the video game. See direct messages. You are a pirate. I just need voice lines. Clank, clank. Yes, apparently I'm going to be in a video game fairly soon that Mr. Dapperton is creating. So I will definitely be shouting that out. Opinionated Junkie. Certain AR-15s are banned. It can't look like M16. I think I had a dream last night. Who was it in the dream? My mom actually came out of the house. I was outside, and there were wild animals out there, and I was, sort of keeping them off. And she came out with an M16 style rifle, locked and loaded. Just started spraying them down. Really weird dream. I have some strange dreams sometimes. Last speaking, what we need to do after Trump and start getting, I already read that, and start making our way towards a Ron Paul centered style variant of the two ideals. Czech Rumbler, the Prague Golem is one of my favorite Czech legends. It's said that when the rabbi had to insert a paper with a spell into the golem's mouth every day to keep him calm, one day he forgot. Yeah, in another variant of the legend, the golem did so much work, it kept growing more and more strong, and eventually just sort of slipped its cable. And then they had to erase the magical words that were keeping it animated in order to shut it down, so to speak. It was sort of like a robot, basically. Brad Armstrong, Sticks, you should develop a pirate board game. It's called Pirate's Treasure. I played it all the time as a kid with my parents, actually. Oh, it's really great. Yeah, I think I haven't played it in like 20 years or something like that. But the goal was to find treasure. And then at the end of the game, of course, everyone sort of counted up their treasure, and somebody had more than the others, and so they won. It was a fun game. Played it for hours. Mulgera, the GOP would be well served to embrace more of the Pat Buchanan and Ron Paul type ideology. Maybe not Buchanan, but I would agree with Ron Paul generally. King of Biltong, hail to you, it's Bovrite time. Looking for some healthy snacks to add to your diet? Try our Biltong, almost 50% protein, plus it's packed with B12, creatine, iron, zinc, and much more. Go to www.biltongusa.com, code STICKS for 10% off. You can also get delicious Bovrite. Apparently, eating it this way even impresses people from actual South Africa. I'd eat some of the Marmite, but the Bovrite's better because it has that beefy undertone. Also, I have a strong feeling that the Bovrite, with the herbal mix in it, it has some celery seed or something like that in it. Because I can taste it. I know that flavor. And it's delicious, by the way. Comrade Havoc, one of these days, Sticks isn't going to pay attention and get a mouthful of Marmite. It's not bad. It's just not as good as the Bovrite. In fact, why not? I've already gone crazy anyway, so it's all good. Yeah, see, this one is more syrupy or pasty. Oh, when I get it all over my clothes. Oh, come on. It's still good. It's just the Marmite is saltier and doesn't have the beefy undertone. I mean, you could probably use it as soup thickener. Yeah, here I am. Again, maturity stream. I'm dressed as a pirate, randomly eating Marmite, Bovrite, and chugging tomato ketchup, Maturity obtained. Mulgera, the GOP in its current iteration truly is the party of Lincoln. It's very similar to the Whig Party, in my opinion. Not really. I mean, maybe with regards to tariffs, but they're not selected. Webster's Wares. Good morning, Clankton. 50% off all Sticks merch at websterswares.com. Orders over $40 get free shipping, and all orders over $50 get free Sticks items in their order. Clank, baby. Webster's, one of our long-term Clank fans. Highly recommended. Mulgera. I like Buchanan because of his non-interventionist stance. I'm no social conservative. Hell, my ears are stretched to nearly an inch, and I'm wearing an Infant Annihilator shirt currently. Lol. Yeah, just look at me. We're good conservatives. This apparently, according to lay liberals, this is the image of the Nazi movement of the day. Oh my God. Fucking hilarious. Check Rumbler. I actually think the spell was a programming and the golem was actually really a sort of robot. There are people actively looking for him. I believe he's currently guarding the Vatican archives. I think, don't they say that it's stored up in the attic in that one building? Gotta visit it sometime. Should probably go to the Czech Republic and Slovakia, because my mom has some heritage there. Webster's Wares. All orders have shipped, and we are getting close to being able to keep our sponsorship with Sticks due to Clankdom's loyalty. Keep on clanking on. Yes, I wish you well in that endeavor. I do like our partnership. Webster's Wares has some good shit. I've actually got to dig that box out because I've got a couple of things I didn't unpack, and I want to show them off, actually. Speaking of pirates or nautical themes, how does one deal with seasickness? I don't know. I've never had it. No, I've been out at sea. I've been on lakes in both calm and choppy waters multiple times. Been on the Mississippi 4 times now on the Natchez. Oh, I can't wait to go back on the Natchez when I get back to New Orleans. Oh, it's so great. If you ever get to New Orleans, go on the Natchez. Make sure to get the full tour. So get the meal. It doesn't matter whether it's lunch or dinner. Get full jazz band. You get all sorts of shit. You can wander around. You can see the boiler room and so forth, and the turbine room. It's great. Oh, it's so fun. I still have to upload that footage of the paddle wheel, actually. It's literally got like one of those old rotary paddle wheels on the back. It is the last steamship, the last real one that is on the Mississippi River. And their food is incredible. Just saying. For the price that you're paying, you are definitely getting a really fucking good meal. It is definitely worth it. Perfect cornbread, red beans and rice, dirty rice, fried catfish. And once you're done, if you're still hungry, you can go back to the buffet and get more, actually, if you want to. So load up your plate with catfish. They do have ketchup. You're not going to need it, though. That's the one time I've had fried fish and not put ketchup on it, actually. Oh, it's delicious. Oh, I can't wait. It's like, damn, I've got a criminal trial that I have to go to? Haha, yeah, baby. Last speaking, I see this both as a Pennsylvania and a Floridian, and been on the water multiple times, but never really got the hang of it. Yeah, I had car sickness once when I was reading in the car, but I have a little bit of vertigo once in a while. I've never gotten seasick, though, even on fairly choppy waters. No, I missed my calling. I should have joined the Coast Guard. Check Rumbler. Sticks, don't worry about the stream being childish. I was literally listening to it while washing my 4-year-old son's pants after having a fart off with him. Guess who lost? Wife wasn't excited, though. What? Oh, my God. By the way, no more super chats, please. I'm going to go offline in a minute. I am going to dock at that pagan temple story for tomorrow. That'll definitely be a main. And that's fascinating. Stephen M., this is old news, but did you see Gavin Newsom make a fool of himself on Charlie Kirk last week? Yeah, and then a few weeks before that, he was doing the methamphetamine shuffle. He was like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? Yeah. We'll all have to play battle shits. It's like Battleship, but you shit on the board, and then you try to determine what the other person ate in the last 24 hours. This is a Howard Stern reference, ironically enough. They prank called a sex shop, and then they were bringing up like, it was like poop chutes and ladders, battle shits, and like all sorts of zany stuff, and just talking about shit and getting increasingly more vulgar. And finally, the woman at the sex shop is like, oh, fuck this, and just hung up. It's pretty fun. Jenny, I recreated Tokyo Bistro's fried fish panko calamari steak strips. That sounds good. I cross-hatch tenderized it correctly, though. I also made the tensio sauce from scratch. Delicious. I love to use panko when I make like fried chicken, and somehow I just aced it on the first try, and every batch has been delicious. I give my fried chicken, my tacos, and some of my soups. People just fucking randomly demand them all the time. And you take the chicken, you dry the wet the dry, and then do it again. And the last layer is the panko. And, oh, it's nice and crispy. It's better than anything you're getting at KFC. You just have to use a lot of seasoning. And then you have to adjust it sometimes, because some people like it a bit more spicy, and some people like it just fairly plain. Girl of the Valley, have a nice weekend. Sending 666. You too. I might actually stream tomorrow, come to think of it. I'll make up for it. Somehow the algorithm right now is definitely punishing me, because there are far fewer people viewing than normal. Debacles Williams, you see that eclipse last night? Yeah, I put pictures of it up on Twitter and conducted several blood rituals. Yeah, you can Bobby Boldy, yes, indeed. After the court case, a motion is filed, and my rights are restored, yeah. You can also go judge shopping. You could relocate temporarily to the 5th District down in Texas, and they're very amenable to firearm rights. It's not a problem. Well, I mean, it's a fiscal problem and a time problem, but personally, I think if a person hasn't been found guilty of a crime and is not institutionalized, they should be able to own whatever the fuck guns they want. But that's just my opinion, man. I'm not a judge. Last weekend, I would have to agree on something like Paul Buchanan. We have way too many of the party of Reagan people floating around the internet, especially those that want to be security state people. Yeah, I fucking hate that. It's like there are people that claim to be conservative, but then they'll want like foreign intervention and domestic censorship and stuff like that, and they'll say Russia and bullshit like this. And I'm like, are you completely insane? Okay. Let's give government more power. Now the government's in liberal hands. What have you just done? You've given people that you're supposedly ideologically opposed to more power over your life. Isn't it better to just limit the government? You know, makes a little bit more sense. Copium poppies. Ribeyes are best dinner breakfast ever. Cooking some now. Oh, ribeye. God damn, am I jealous. Anyways, I'm going to go offline. I will probably... Oh, yes, that reminds me. I need to send a message to one of my friends. Yes, I will probably go live briefly tomorrow, especially if there's major news. I'll do that any time of day. But we'll see. And I'm going to docket news for tomorrow. And then I'm going to go hang out outside because it's like 50 degrees or some shit. By Vermont standards this time of year, that's rather warm. That's about all. Peace out.